Guys, what is going on? Back again with another Arbitrum ecosystem update. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice, and everything I do say is my opinion, and my opinion alone. Definitely not of Gemini or of Starkware. Let's jump right into it. We got a couple of interesting, more technical stuff related today, but I think you guys will find it pretty cool nonetheless. First, we have a tweet from Austin, or GM Ethereum. He says, introducing a new blog and its first post, the hidden gold mine on L2s. Pretty much talking about MEV without saying the word MEV. This is actually a pretty interesting blog post. I read it myself literally just now before even making this video. It gives you a great understanding of MEV, what the landscape looks like, especially for layer 2s, and how it can potentially essentially be captured and repurposed for whatever a specific chain's needs are. It's a very good. It's definitely. I really like it because it's very high level. It doesn't get too technical. Like probably like the most technical word in there maybe is like value capture or something. It's a great post written by someone who does products, so it makes sense that it's very digestible, I guess, right? But good post if you're interested in like MEV, L2s, etc. Shout out to Austin for creating that, putting it out there. I think just to kind of end off on this note, some of what he mentions here in terms of kind of priority auctions instead of kind of like first come first serve, or as an addition to first come first serve potentially, is kind of answered with time boost, which is essentially a transaction ordering policy for Arbitrum specific chains or chains that utilize the Espresso Sequencer, which is, we're actually going to be talking about Espresso next. But pretty cool, it all kind of leads up into each other, but I'll leave it to you to read it. Again, as usual, I'll leave the link to this tweet in the comment section below so you can take a look. Next, we have a tweet from Espresso Systems. They say that the Espresso Sequencer exists to scale Ethereum rollups. To support this vision, we're excited to unveil our work integrating with the Arbitrum stack. This integration is part of our latest testnet release, Gibraltar. And Espresso here, essentially, as I just said, they're contributing to the Arbitrum stack as well via their shared sequencing protocol. And I'm actually very excited to see more projects integrating Espresso. Considering they are in testnet right now, obviously you're probably not going to see any like live in production today, but I do think it's something that will definitely be part of the broader crypto narrative, the broader scaling narrative, I should say, in the coming future. Decentralized sequencing, generally speaking, is like something everyone has been talking about, but it's definitely like it's far down the line in terms of, I think, development, just partially because most roll-up teams today still need to focus on decentralizing, just generally speaking, right? Decentralizing things from a security standpoint. Sequencer downtime only affects liveness, not necessarily safety and security. So that's why I think like it makes sense that it's not like no one's created this like mainnet ready kind of system yet, because everyone's just focusing on creating the system itself. I feel like the shared sequencer and whatnot is kind of like definitely a needed add-on that isn't necessarily safety related, more so liveness related. But definitely really excited to see Espressos specifically go live. And potentially, by the way, any other sequencers or any other shared sequencing systems that come out. I'm actually not aware of any other ones besides Espresso. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be more competitors coming soon. Now we get a tweet here from Jesse, the contributor at Base, the L2 built with the OP stack. Jesse says, related, if you're launching an L3, we are making this a first-class paved road on Base. This will be the easiest path for apps to leverage dedicated on-chain compute. DM me and we'll help however we can. So the interesting part, and actually Dennison over here literally took the words right out of my mouth. Are you talking about Arbitrum L3s on Base? Jesse says, pretty much alludes to any other team being able to build stacks on Base as well, but very specifically, we're talking about Arbitrum L3s in this case. Very exciting development. I will say that while it is possible for you to build an Orbit chain on top of Base, OP stack, any other chain now, I will say that I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose to build, to have, for example, let's just say an L3 with the optimistic rollup architecture on an OP stack chain, just because They're obviously not decentralized yet. There's no prover or anything like that. So, I don't know if I'd recommend it necessarily, but it is possible. That's the cool part. And that's the problem. Maybe for some people, that's all that matters, right? So I will say it's pretty cool to see the base team starting to think this route in terms of L3s. And I will say, just to add on to this, that like I think to date we've been thinking about layer 3s, layer 2s in the incorrect way. I think like in a perfect world where everything is abstracted away, and maybe we're not even seeing the exchanges or what do you call it, blockchains that we're even using. Oh, sorry, that was a train. In a perfect world, all that stuff is abstracted away, and the different layers are used for very specific purposes. Layer 3s, I think, for the most part, will be mostly dominated by app chains, like literally apps that have dedicated kind of throughput, but also can customize the chain to fit the needs of their user base, right? And to me, that's where account abstraction will, I think, reign supreme. Layer 2s, I think, will remain generalized for the most part. You have the Arbitrum ones, you have the Arbitrum Novas, and the other L2s that exist. And I think they're also very needed. But that's where I think layer 3s do great, is because they're that much cheaper that they're quote unquote a layer even beyond Ethereum, technically 2 layers beyond Ethereum, right? Quote unquote. But also that you're literally, you get the benefit of not having to worry about the fees because it's extremely cheap too. If you thought layer 2s were cheap, or even layer 2s with alternative data availability layers, if you thought those were cheap, then layer 3s are even cheaper. So layer 3s may actually be the way we onboard the masses. But that being said, yes, does it add complexity to the entire stack? Technically, it does, right? Any other added thing is more complexity. But I think the good part is that that's why, for example, obviously, I'm always talking about Arbitrum specific stacks, because the stack itself can be decentralized from day one. At the very least, validation still needs to come with permissionless validation, I should say. But that's essentially the only thing I think at this point, besides of course decentralized sequencing, which is more of a liveness thing, like I said. So I'm very excited for layer 3, for the proliferation of layer 3s. There are already a couple out. You've seen me talk about them already if you've watched the past videos. But I'll continue talking about them this year because I think there's going to be a ton more. All right. Last tweet here. I spent a lot of time on that last one. Jeez. Tweet from Offchain Labs. We are excited to continue our contribution to the development of Ethereum in 2024. With the Denken upgrade coming to Ethereum mainnet soon, the Prysm team has been exploring which Ethereum improvement proposals, or EIPs, are feasible for the next upgrade following Denken, the Electra upgrade. And you can actually, they essentially summarize a Medium post here that they put out. But it's essentially just sharing thoughts around the consensus layer upgrade for these proposals below. Again, very technical in nature. I'm not even going to pretend like I understand half of what's going on here. But I think that the main takeaway here is that obviously Offchain Labs is a team. I am on the Offchain Labs team, for clarity. But even though this is my opinion personally, Offchain Labs contributes to more than just Arbitrum. Via Prysm and even just other things that the team is working on, Offchain Labs contributes directly back to Ethereum. And I think this is a great example of showing how that's done. So, it's funny because I think there are a number of L2s out there, obviously, that are building their own software and scaling their systems. But I'd argue probably a good amount of them do actually do have some direct contributions to Ethereum at the core level, at the layer 1 level. I can't speak for any of the other ones, but I do know at the very least Offchain Labs does. So it's pretty cool, and that's why I think the Ethereum ecosystem will never be beaten, essentially, because there's an insane amount of people dedicated to scaling it, both at layer 2 and layer 1 and layer 3 apparently now, right? But yeah, that being said, as usual, guys, we'll end it off with a shill of Beneath the Layers, a community-focused show dedicated to showcasing entrepreneurs in Web3 and telling their stories. Hosted by your boy. Definitely take a look. We have episodes on YouTube, X, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can find it almost anywhere. And I speak to a bunch of different people: technical people, gaming-focused individuals, scaling-focused individuals, You name it, we got it. But that being said, guys, we'll end off there, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.